Hi everyone, my name is Arja and I'm a faculty member at SOIL and I have been also a part of the team which has designed the curriculum for our new school, the School of Business Design at Manesar. And I have been also a part of the team which has designed the curriculum for our new school, the School of Business Design at Manesar. And just give me a minute. Yeah. The topic that we have today for our discussion is something like this, which is why is there a need for change in the management curriculum? We at SOIL started reflecting on our journey, which is a 10-year-long journey. We looked at what we had done in these 10 years, and we wanted to think about what is it that we need to do further. We did a series of workshops with all stakeholders in this, and some of the thoughts that came in were as follows. The world outside today is very complex, ambiguous, organic, dynamic, constantly changing. Howsoever, when we as individuals think, we think linear, we think simple, we think sequential, and the reason also perhaps is that some of the subjects that we learn are taught to us in silos. And it gets onto our thinking that everything in our life is either marketing, finance, or human resources, so on and so forth. Whereas actually, if you look at the world outside, things are running parallel. They are happening at the same time as you are learning. They are much more integrated. And therefore, there's a need to think about decisions and solutions in a manner which are more synchronized. The manager and the leader today has to not only deal with moral values, administrative processes, but also be able to lead things in a very, very creative and intuitive manner. And where we find the leaders who can actually combine a great amount of people, process, technology, with a lot of administrative skills and with a lot of creative skills. Individuals today need to be, they need to actually reflect on the way they work, and they will do a great service if they revive themselves, if they are able to reinvent themselves and rejuvenate themselves and the organizations for which they work. This setup, the entire thinking about a person who has a whole brain thinking. Our left brain is more intuitive, analytical, and our right brain is the one which is more creative and which brings in a lot of other thinking processes which is required to set up a whole brain process. How do we create people who are whole brain, who can think about organizations, perspectives, solutions in a way that is required, because the organizations of tomorrow are not yet there. The way we will be doing business tomorrow may not be, existing right now. One of the things which we can tell ourselves is that computers will do a lot of jobs, robots will do a lot of jobs, and many of the tasks that are being done by organizations with their employees today may be done by artificial intelligence or robotics or machine learning. In that case, what about the skills required by these individuals, for these organizations ahead? So the first, of course, was about saying, how do we set up a whole brain thinking, which can be a part of our curriculum? So therefore, the pedagogy is very important. The andragogy is very important. The way we look at our curriculum in the School of Business Design is that it's like a hot air balloon exercise, okay? So you are given a problem which says something like, how can we make organization develop products which are more sustainable, okay? And so you have a view which is from above, which is a macro view. At the same time, you should be able to understand the operations about how to make things work. And this kind of set us thinking about, what are the things that our students should be aware about. They need to be aware about themselves, they need to be aware about the society, and they need to be aware about the environment outside, which is, of course, the entire universal and planet. Once they are aware about this, and they have more ideas, right? And therefore, they also need to have the passion and the compassion to be able to care for these ideas, care for the fact that we need to make the world a better place to live in, have products which are more sustainable. And once they care, what is it that creates the confidence and the courage to dare, which is to actually implement the ideas? The other perspective that we looked at was, some of the skills that our students and the leaders of tomorrow need are already existing in the form of subjects like liberal arts. When we look at subjects like anthropology, philosophy, anthropology is a lot about systematic observation of the society around. Philosophy is a lot about questioning existence, mind, language, and a host of other things. We know we are all familiar with the philosophers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle, and we are familiar with the theory of forms. They have left a mark on us. So therefore, some of the skills which are required by the leaders of tomorrow can be inculcated when we take up the importance of subjects in liberal arts. And therefore we said, what kind of subjects can be taught to students, which broadens their thinking to be able to understand concepts, which they can then extrapolate and apply to management thinking. The third piece for us was understanding the constantly evolving, employees, individuals, customers, and people around us. And therefore, this need to be able to observe people, to be able to actively listen to people, to understand the need of tomorrow is such an important skill. And design thinking is exactly about that. Design thinking is about empathy mapping. It's about understanding where your customers are coming from, what has been the experiences, what are they telling you about. And it's also a lot about saying that how can we exactly create products which do not exist today, but are, there's a need about those products. This brought us to this entire piece of management subjects, liberal arts, and design thinking. And we said that, how do we bring it as a course, as a curriculum, as a format to the class, which helps the students to develop a holistic perspective about business and about the world around them, at the same time create a lot of whole brain thinking. I think I'll take a pause here, and I'll questions popping up out here, and then take this forward. Okay. Any questions which have popped up right now? Let me also talk a little bit more about how the experience at the School of Business Design is going to be. The way we look at the curriculum is that it's an innovative, immersive journey. We want to locate students with whom we can create indigenous leaders. And we want students to come to us to learn and to grow. And the way we deliver learning and growth is by giving a lot of importance to curiosity, to be able to be, to openly experience what we have in store for them. And with experience, they should be able to create newer learnings, be able to unlearn some of the things that have happened in the past, but be able to create new learnings and take this forward to ideate in the world of tomorrow. This innovation journey that we are talking about will take the students on a few expeditions. And when I say expeditions, the first one is about immersing themselves in the communities in and around where they will be, where the college is. Immersing themselves in the communities around to be able to understand who are these communities, where do they originate from, where do they come from, what are their needs, and how do we, solve the needs of these communities. As you do this, you will be parallelly taught subjects of design thinking, liberal arts, marketing, finance, organization behavior, human resource management, statistics, strategy, and you should be able to come out with ideas which you can take it on further with your groups or individually to develop into products and services. We continue this journey across the 2 years. The first, as I said, in the first part, you immerse yourself in the communities. In the second lab, you go and you study these communities. After having studied them ethnographically, you kind of understand what kind of needs can be developed into product services. And then you go on further to the next year to develop actually prototypes. And in the final semester, you go and test these products, services, prototypes with the communities. We will make this journey very interesting with some world-renowned anthropologists actually helping you to understand this journey better and to be able to imbibe the qualities that careful listening, observing people in their habitat actually brings about. The second piece that we have is a rural immersion. And in the rural immersion, we will take the students onto a rural journey where they are able to understand this integral part of Indianness, which is a large part of our country stays in rural areas. And what are some of the happenings out there? What are some of the things events, needs which are happening in those rural areas. Here again, we have people who will assist us, who have an immense, understanding of the panchayats, the village life, the way our tribal societies have changed, the way the nomads have lived, and the way villages have been set up, and how those villages are transforming themselves today. In the third piece, we have a global immersion, in which we are tying up with foreign universities, and this would be one of the larger developing countries where we should be able to take our students and help them understand the culture and the way organizations functions in those culture. One of the important skills that we need in leaders of today is to be able to cross-culturally align themselves to issues. The boundaries are melting, and with the kind of complexity of businesses, where businesses are spread across many nations, many countries, with virtual teams, with people who are based out of different countries and coming together for a certain project, we need to be aware about how those cultures amalgamate in an organization to be able to bring diverse thinking, cognitive diversity, experiential diversity into the teams to be able to, create wonders. So therefore, the global immersion is a very important piece in this entire curriculum. These are some of the things that create some amount of beautiful experiences for our students. And we truly believe that the students carry with them these experiences, and they are able to extrapolate these experiences into their own organizations and be able to create newer processes, reinvent processes, and rejuvenate the organizations. Look like we have any questions. Okay. Yeah, it would be nice if you can interact, because I can talk about what we have done, but it would be nice to hear from your side about some of the questions in your mind, about the school and this curriculum, or anything else as such. Okay. Now, when we look at the subject design thinking, And usually you will find that design thinking is a lot about space, form, structure, products. The reason we want to integrate design thinking into management curriculum is because that we truly think that leaders and managers need a lot of thinking which is like design thinkers. So we are expecting that with this curriculum and the pedagogy, we create management thinkers who have a lot of design thinking perspective. When we look at design thinking as as a topic, you would see that organizations have already started, working on design thinking within the organizations to have creative solutioning to a lot of issues that they have been facing currently or in the past. For example, if we have to create an understanding about how customers view their experience when they walk into a mall or to inside a shop, we can create their journeys, map their journeys, and understand what exactly is the experience as they walk into your space. Now, with the help of this understanding, we can create spaces which are actually functionally more viable. It is the same with your user interface products. The entire understanding that whether this functionality of my product or my interface is actually very intuitive for the person who's using my app or my product is very important. Now, we can have a lot of people understanding how to create the product, but to be able to create an experience which gives in that edge is something that design thinkers can bring to the table. So therefore, as you study the subjects like in any other management curriculum, we are infusing the pedagogy with design thinking. We are creating more work around more projects, more of cases, more of discussions around how this could be done with the design thinking way. That's one of the other things that we have planned in our curriculum. The other part is to be able to create spaces, which you might like to call labs or any such spaces, where people from radical backgrounds can come together and synchronize, amalgamate, come together to be able to bring in, newer thoughts, ideate about an issue in a way which is perhaps completely, it had not occurred to the people before, which means that, for example, if you're trying to find solutions to a problem, and I get in, I bring to this room right now a kid who is in high school and a musician, a painter, an author, also a corporate leader. The variety of thinking, of experiences that get into the solutioning is itself, a huge amount of understanding about how different stakeholders can view a certain product. This is what we try to create in our design labs, in those spaces. And the idea is that students can spend a lot of time in these spaces, gather experiences from each other, from the groups that we invite, and be able to inculcate a lot of, ideas from each other. So a lot of cross-pollination of ideas is what we are looking at. Uh, the way we are looking at the curriculum, of course, is that like any other AICTE, we have certain number of courses, hours inside the class. We have also experienced that the hours spent outside the class is very important to our students, and they also bring in a huge amount of learning. The way we have, we plan to go ahead in the curriculum is that there are a lot of hours built in to be able to interact with leaders from various facets of life, get together in smaller circles, which are called coffee chats, have an in-depth understanding of how the leader's journey has been, be able to interact with them, across mentoring sessions, across coaching sessions, be able to, work on creative ideation through a lot of music, theater, and art. In fact, the idea is that one of the subjects of the curriculum is an entire course on theater, which helps our students to be able to unlock their own potential and discover themselves to their, best possible way. The entire curriculum is focused around the student. It is about saying that they deserve the best and they deserve learning to be an exciting, eventful, a journey in their life. Okay. How is the School of Business Design's curriculum different from academics point of view? What will be the roles or positions that will be offered by the companies who recruit us? Okay. I think I've been talking a lot about how the curriculum is different from the academics point of view, which is a lot about experiential pedagogy, which is a lot of whole systems and whole brain thinking, and how this entire curriculum is not just about learning subjects in silos, but being able to develop a lot of cross-functional skills, a lot of cross-cultural skills. The kind of roles that we expect to come in, even before we say I talk about that, let me tell you that one of the things that we have been doing is we have been talking to a lot of organizations, senior leadership and top management leadership about our concept. We have been doing it now for almost about a year and a half. And we have been trying to ask them that, does this curriculum help you? Does it meet the needs that you are looking for in a fresh candidate or in any kind of a role that your organization is currently having? The feedback has been immensely encouraging. The organizations look forward to students who have the ability to not just be able to think about issues, problems in a way that the frameworks and the theories have been taught, but also be able to take this on to the next level with their creativity. And many a times they come back and they tell us that we need people who are not just looking at a role or just a job, but who are joining our organizations with a perspective that they can contribute. Now, this is what is very important for students in the future, because organizations might change the roles that they have, the roles that are in existence today, may not exist tomorrow, and the nature of those roles will change. Many a times, you can pick up a technical skill. Okay, I'm saying that because if these organizations are moving ahead with their technicalities, I'm sure they also have a need to kind of train people on the technicalities. Or take it for an instance that maybe you don't have the technical skill that can be taught. But if you lack the skills which are about understanding problems, decision making, be able to apply your mind to what is not seen as you go through the problem is a skill that perhaps cannot come to you in just about just like that. It is a skill that you need to be trained for. It's a skill that comes to you by experiencing how you are changing in the way you're making decisions. And that's what we are looking for. The roles at organizations, many organizations actually have design thinking cells. Many of the organizations that we work with already have design thinking cells. They're looking at groups which can come together and work on design thinking. So, of course, those roles come to us. The other roles which also come to us are roles which are existing for any other MBA schools, which are the marketing roles, human resource roles, analytics, technical, fintech roles, so on and so forth. The roles being similar, we expect our students to bring in their own skills to these roles. Okay? As I speak to you, the world outside, in its complexity, is changing the way it is working on its own processes. We might not be able to train you for, processes which are going to happen in a few years from now. But if we create the right kind of mindset and we create the ability in you to be able to reflect and therefore reinvent yourself, you have a great career ahead of you. Some of the companies which will be coming for our recruitment, now I don't want to name companies out here because we have gained support of many companies, but we have actually spoken to most of the companies, the larger companies in India and a lot of startups. Your recruitment for this batch is going to happen 2 years from now. So therefore, the companies which promise us for placements today may have to change the way we look at it 2 years from now. However, you can have access to our website and check for yourselves the organizations which come for recruitment. And it's a constant evolving process. And each year, we reach out to a large number of companies. The idea is to understand the roles, train our students for those roles. And the way I like to put it is that this 2 years course is not just to help you get your first job, it is to be able to give you a learning to create a career of your own. A career which is about your own passion and your own, being able to deliver your own ideas. Uh, how does design thinking help in finance domain or HR? So yeah, okay. Okay. I might have to repeat a few points that I've already mentioned out here. And the question from Atul is that how can we accept package more than 1 year program? You can accept any package. You can accept package which is more than 1 year. You can accept package which is more than any college. It's completely up to you, the fit that the organization finds in you and the package that they offer you, if I have got your question correct. So there is, each year organizations take a call on the kind of roles that they would like to recruit for. And accordingly, looking at the internal structures, they come to us with a package. And it's up to us to accept those packages or to say that these packages don't work for us, so on and so forth. Of course, the higher the package, it certainly works for us. And how does design thinking help in finance domain and in HR? Okay. It helps in finance, it helps in HR, it helps in marketing, it helps in analytics, it helps in IT, it helps in any job, in any role, in any function that you are doing in your organization today. It is an overarching theme which kind of help managers to practice a design thinking perspective. So for every work that you are doing right now, you can develop your perspective to be able to have solutioning, decision making, and ideating, which is taken on to the next level with the help of design thinking. Okay? For example, the easiest thing to explain about design thinking is about how you are able to understand, observe, listen, understand to your customers and to your employees. Okay? If you can then start from those understanding and be able to create experiences for them in a way that can, create well-being and happiness in the organization or for your customers, it will always be something that is, that creates a highly engaged, highly productive organization. So therefore, design thinking methods, practices, and the practice of design thinking can be amalgamated into every perspective of, a management curriculum and in an organization. So, of course, I have already said this before, and let me repeat it again, because design thinking and liberal arts put together, along with management curriculum, is actually addressing a leader who is whole brain, a manager who's whole brain, and it's not just focusing on a left brain thinking, but is also focusing on how to bring in the right brain and the left brain together. Many a times, we try to look for people in a group who are, unlike us. In fact, it is said that if you have a group of people with whom you need to work, choose people who are unlike you because they bring their own typicalities, ideas, experiences, cognitive thinking to the table, right? Now imagine if you have people and each one of them are able to have a perspective which is not just about, thinking about solutioning in a certain pattern, but also thinking about disruptive patterns, which is where your right brain thinking comes in. And therefore, design thinking and liberal arts actually train you to explore both your left brain and your right brain, and therefore whole brain thinking, right? Yes, companies in our consortium participate in placements. Most of them participate. Again, as I said, it depends on the year and the vacancies that they have, the decisions internal to them. But yes, many of them, support us in a huge way, and not just for placements. They also help us during our recruitments, which means when we are, bringing you into the organization, we bring in leaders from these organizations to help us choose who you for this college, and of course for placements they do help us. The other role that they play is most of them play different kind of roles depending upon what is a priority for them in those years. They help us with our internships. They help us. They talk to us. The leaders come to the classes. The leaders come and talk about what is going on in the organization, so on and so forth. Okay, I think I've answered the questions. Okay. I still can talk about this question, which is saying how is the curriculum different from an academics point of view? Uh, the topics that you're going to study is going to be infused with topics of design thinking and liberal arts. It will have a lot of experiential learning. Having said that, the skills that you need to attain for any management roles that you have in the organization will remain the same. The curriculum is correctly placed, pivoted against how we actually teach these subjects in the class, so that the learning is from the perspective of the students in terms of being able to imbibe the skills required. I think that is where it is important that we pay attention to how our students learn. What makes them understand, certain kind of topics, certain kind of skills required in a way that they are eager to learn and, invite them. And that's the role that we as faculty and academicians play by saying that, learning has to be a great experience. Learning has to actually help individuals to be able to become curious about life, to be able to, be gung-ho about organizations, working with organizations which are of different kind, being able to bring organizations which are much more humane in their approach. And we usually talk about the 3 Ps, which is you don't teach management just from the perspective of profits or money or top line, bottom line, and revenues. You also teach management from the perspective of people and from the perspective of this planet, which is sustainability. Okay. Those of you who are willing to have more conversations, you can inbox me, you can write to me, you can come and meet me in the college, which is, here at Soil. And we can also facilitate your, a visit to School of Business Design. We can help you interact with some of the faculty here. The idea is that we want students who are heavily, excited, who are highly excited, by what we have to offer. And we want students who can be, the co-creators along with us, because it will be the first batch of students for us. So as we go ahead with the curriculum, we will, of course, we look forward to the inputs that you bring to us so that we can create a great experience together. I see that there are a lot of questions about jobs, roles, and the kind of organizations which are going to recruit uh, you from this college. Uh, all I can say that if we are able to create a learning experience which actually results in creating, uh, managers who are able to think ahead, who are, uh, who dare to lead in a way which is, not about conforming and just doing things in what we call as a 30x way, which is like just doing things which is acquired, but be able to go beyond that. I am sure that we will create leaders who are much in demand, not just for the jobs today, but for the jobs in the next, few decades. Can you help student for getting some internships during the course, which can help financially too? Okay. Uh, Many of the internships are paid internships. The internships that you do during the summers are paid internships, and some of the organizations, pay for the 2 months that you work with them. I don't know whether you're talking about summer internships, but if there are other internships that you're talking about which can be paid, uh, we can work that out for sure, because we ourselves believe that a student should be, if a student wants to pick up a certain skill, wants to learn ahead, we are willing to help the student to have an experience that really matters to him or her. So I think if you are keen on internships which are beyond your summer internships, I'm sure we can work that out. Really haven't thought about it, but it's possible, because we are seated in the midst of a lot of large organizations here in Manesar. And I'm sure there's a lot of a requirement for people who can stretch and perform, and work for such assignments. I'm sure we can make it work. Yeah. Doesn't look like something impossible to me. Okay, so I think we have had a great chat, and you can connect with me at any point of time with any kind of questions. We would also like to hear from you about uh, what kind of suggestions you have for us. Please go to our website. Please call us up. We'll be excited to have an interaction with you. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.